My name is Karla Clark. If you don't know me, I'm with the Balance U team here at King County, and this is Balance U Conversations. This is something that we started for those who maybe missed the webinars that we have done in the past and want to still get the information from our expert panelists. So we recently in March had a women's webinar focused on health and wellness for women. We talked about everything from menopause to nutrition and exercise, which are all the things that we all are kind of struggling with on a day-to-day basis, right? Are we getting enough in? Are we doing the right things? Well, today my expert, Miss Elizabeth Kovar, she's a fitness trainer and holistic health coach. She also co-hosts with me Get Moving with Balance U during our lunch times bi-weekly. I'm excited to talk to her, and she's going to give you some insight on this whole exercise thing. So hello, Elizabeth, and thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, let's jump right in. How often should one exercise per week?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, this modern world, because we are sitting so much with, most of us have desk jobs these days, that ideally getting up and moving every single day is going to be the most ideal situation. Humans were meant to be upright and moving. Current physical activity guidelines does suggest 150 minutes a week for adults, and that includes 2 days of strength training. So you could think about several days a week trying to accumulate up to 150 minutes. So those are current guidelines. Obviously, more is always better, but I think it just has to be realistic within people's current work and lifestyle schedules. But yes, even if you're just getting up and moving every day for a little bit will be ideal. There's something called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, also known as NEAT. So those are the ways that you can expend calories outside of exercising, such as vacuuming or walking upstairs or doing yard work like gardening, raking leaves. So those are other ways that you can incorporate movement in your life that may not necessarily just be a scheduled exercise routine.
I like that. So I can actually get some movement in just doing house chores.
Yeah, exactly. Like vacuuming. It's a great one. You're definitely, pushing.
Right. I love it. Okay, so a little bit of cardio there and physical workout. What about stretching? I know as one of the Get Moving classes, you do stretching, and you've talked about the importance of that. Let people know how important that is when it comes to working out.
Yeah, definitely stretching is another component in the exercise world that can be done on its own or as part of an exercise routine. So something like yoga or sports stretching, that is a scheduled, or would say that would be a more structured class around stretching that includes dynamic and static flexibility. So dynamic movement is things like shoulder circles and things like that help gain flexibility and range of motion. Static stretching is something where you would hold a stretch to gain permanent flexibility through time. So those sports stretching and yoga are great ways to stretch as an exercise routine or as part of your routine. But stretching is just really important in general. It is best to be done at the end of a workout. So even if you're going to the gym and hopping on a treadmill or just doing some weights, it's ideal to do some post-workout static stretching just to release out some of the lactic acid in the body. Because we sit down so much and we're under the influence of gravity, that's where a lot of our poor posture and muscle weaknesses have come into play. So stretching is important to keep ourselves not only flexible, but as well as maintain our posture and just overall muscular well-being, especially as we age.
All right, so get that stretching in. So now what about folks that may be just beginning to work out, or just even exercise? Maybe they haven't really done anything their whole life, or maybe has some physical challenges with movement and bending and things like that. What would you say would be like a good workout to kind of start?
Yeah, there's various options, but the number one thing that everybody does every single day is walk. Even if it's just getting up and walking to the kitchen or walking to the car,
Mhm.
walking in a grocery store. If you can just get up and walk, whether that's in your neighborhood or if you have a gym membership and getting on a treadmill, that is going to be something. It's a form of movement that you already do every single day, and it's a form of movement that has a little bit of impact onto the ground. So you are building some strength while aerobically working out. So walking is great to build some form of a baseline for your fitness level. If you're really struggling with working out, you're finding it really difficult to move, you could actually go to physical therapy and do more corrective exercising where you're doing band work or basic hip movements to kind of rebuild the strength in your ligaments and tendons that surround the joint. Pool exercise is also really great as well. So for those who have access to a pool, even something like water walking or water jogging will be really nice to help reduce the impact and load on your joints, and you're still moving aerobically while building strength because you're pushing through the resistance of the water. So those three are going to be great for people who are a little bit more on the sedentary side or having physical challenges. And if you just even go to a gym and hop on an elliptical or a stationary bike, those will be also great ways to build up an aerobic baseline, but it does build up strength in your legs because you are pushing against resistance as well.
Wow, that actually sounds fun, like water aerobics.
Yeah.
All right. And lastly, how do we stay motivated? It's like you're working, you've got maybe kids when you get home, you fix dinner, you're tired after a long day, or maybe you start an early work day, so you can't do it beforehand. How do you stay motivated? And what are some easy ways to track progress so you're not jumping on the scale every day?
Yeah, this is probably the biggest challenge for most people is finding motivation as well as staying motivated. I would say if you can focus on the benefits or the reward, not saying like, oh, I worked out, I'm gonna, go and get ice cream, not that type of reward,
Mhm.
but just the reward of things that you notice the physiological changes in your body or maybe even the mental changes. Most of the time when people start incorporating exercise, they're finding that they're sleeping better, their mood is better, maybe they're not as anxious, their anxiety levels are down. So that will be always recognizing what is within you that has kind of evolved or changed will always kind of be people's biggest motivator. Having a support system, whether that's a workout buddy or a friend that keeps you accountable. That's why a lot of people hire personal trainers, is because it's
Mhm.
an accountability piece. It also kind of helps motivate people because they're also accountable to somebody else, like meeting them at the gym or paying for an appointment. Some great ways to track your progress. A motivating tool as well as tracking your progress are a lot of times fitness trackers as well as apps. Some more logical database people just really like that visual component of seeing what they've done or maybe that they haven't done. So they can kind of look at this chart or graph and see like, wow, when I was really busy at work, like I really didn't move. And when I had a little bit more free time, I noticed I did some more movement. So
Mhm.
that can kind of help obviously motivate people because they're like, oh, I need to get moving again because I haven't seen much movement in my life over the last few days. But it's also a great way to track progress. People can also track progress by keeping a journal or a log. That's obviously not always something that a lot of people maintain long term.
Right.
And the final one is just seeing how your clothes fit. Like if you start noticing that things feel a little loose or baggy, or maybe even the other way, a little bit tight, that's kind of a way to track your
Yeah.
progress.
I like that. It's like a little more snug than last time. Maybe
Yeah.
not have that extra piece of bread. All right. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. This is great, great information for folks. And you can catch Elizabeth at the Get Moving classes. Like I said, we do those bi-weekly, sponsored by Balance You and in partnership with Vivacor. And you can go to the Balance You webpage and you can sign up to take one of the yoga classes or cardio classes, whatever you feel like doing to get some exercise in and stretching in. So we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Elizabeth. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Yeah, thank
Bye.
you.